Now, the municipal manager of Nkangala district in Mpumalanga has been safely reunited with her family. Maggie Skhosana and her driver Gugu Mtsweni were abducted at the municipality's gates just last week. The two were found dumped on the side of the road in Diepsloot in Gauteng in the early hours of this morning. My colleague, reporter Moloko Moloto, has been covering this story for us, joining us now for the latest. Good afternoon again, Moloko. Welcome to today, this hour. Well, I mean, the family must be very thrilled that Maggie Skhosana is back home safe, and I'm sure Gugu Mtsweni's family, the driver, is also very much relieved. But it must have been a traumatizing kind of ordeal while we wait to know why they were arrested. I mean, they were kidnapped.
Well, Braden, the two families are certainly breathing a sigh of relief. The two women were actually released from capture last night, and they were found by a taxi driver who alerted the police along the N14 in Diepsloot outside Johannesburg, and they were taken to hospital for a checkup. And this morning they were then reunited with their families. They arrived home in Middelburg from Johannesburg in the early hours of this morning, and we arrived at the house of Maggie Skhosana, who was also in the presence of her family and extended families, and also the driver, her personal driver, Ms. Gugu Mtsweni, was also present, but we were requested to only speak to Skhosana, Maggie Skhosana, who was speaking for both families. She was, narrating how they were captured just outside the gate where she works. And initially, she says the men who captured them were wearing balaclavas and they had a blue light. Their car was fitted with a blue light, and they said they were police officers and they were arresting her. They were also taking her to her home. But as they were driving, they did not go to her home, and that's when it started to ring the bell that this really is a kidnapping. And they were taken to a place that she could not even identify at the time because their faces were covered, and we know that her wheelchair was actually dumped outside Middelburg. So the past days that she had been there, she says that she was worried, really fearing for their lives, and she was also thinking about her children. At some point, she says that she was begging those particular kidnappers to say that we have children, just allow us to go and go to our children. And it seems that obviously after some days, then the kidnappers decided to release them. And obviously she's saying this is going to be very difficult for them, as they will have to, she's saying every time when she encounters the police, it's going to be very difficult for her to trust them, because she wouldn't know if they are impersonating the police or they are the actual police officers. Let's listen to her.
I'm traumatized even now, and it even makes it difficult for me to even trust, police van, for instance, because those people were impersonating themselves as police officers. So you wouldn't know next time when you are stopped, is it a real police officer or a person impersonating to be a police officer. So yeah, it will be a trauma, but I believe that myself and my employer, we should be able to look into it and deal with the matter, because I need to go back to work after some time. It was quite difficult, to be quite honest with you, because we did not know where we were. First of all, we did not know people that we were with in the house, and we did not know the day that we are going to be released from that house. So we were not mentally okay, but we kept on praying, and we believe that God will see us through.
You understand, Moloko, you also managed to speak to her husband. I mean, he and the family, they must have been going through also a traumatizing time with no information, but I understand he was contacted by the abductors.
Oh yes, Braden, quickly, the municipal manager, when I put it to her, considering the fact that as the accounting officer, she has the final word on the appointment of contracts and tenders. And you would recall this municipality just in December awarded a 1.2 billion rand bulk water infrastructure project. And I did ask if she thought her kidnapping had anything to do with that. And she said, look, I would rather not comment on that and leave it up to the police. Now, we spoke to the husband, Maggie Skhosana, who obviously was elated at the fact that the two women are now back. He confirms that the kidnappers did make contact with him, Braden, and they demanded ransom. However, he says they negotiated their way out, and as the family, they did not pay even a single cent. Let's listen to Mr. Maggie Skhosana.
The communications were made to me by the kidnappers, where we involved the SAPS and private investigators that were appointed by the family, and for their release, for her release, we negotiated, and then we pleaded with them using our private investigators to assist in terms of releasing her, and that one yesterday it was done. And she was released.
Meaning you've had to pay them to secure for her safety?
No, we didn't pay anything as a family. And what we had the faith of saying, but as the family, we don't have such. And also, we wanted them to understand the situation that my wife, she was under with. Thank you.
How much do they demand?
I cannot divulge that because they were fake media statement that the kidnappers demanded 5 million ransom, which as the family we don't know that.